Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. All three of you that are in the chat right now, for once again, my what is becoming my daily impromptu live streams. But I like the fact that they're impromptu. There's not much, um, what do you call it? Not much pressure to amass a large audience for these because the idea is that once they've been recorded, then they're available for people to view in their own time. You'll notice that I don't spend too much time faffing around. Now, we are experiencing a bit of deja vu. Andrew and Tristan Tate arrested again. I'm not presenting this as any kind of new news. This is happened a few weeks ago now, but I hadn't to it yet, and I felt like I should, given that historically on this channel I've spoken about Andrew Tate a few times. You probably know that I'm not a fan, and not a fan is probably an understatement. I can't stand the guy. I think he's been incredibly damaging for an entire generation of people. I think he's normalized sexism, misogyny, racism. I think a lot of what we see amplified in today's society has come from this individual's influence. I think he's deceived the generation of young men into thinking that they essentially can express male supremacy over women, treat women like they're not equals, treat them as though they're deficient. Many men actually hate women now as a result of these guys. And what you're going to find out, or at least what many people detected, those of us who actually exist in functioning relationships and come from functioning families, what we detected very early on was this was essentially just the ramblings of a very dysfunctional, unhappy predator. And I picked up, you picked up on that early. This man is very sexually driven, and often people who are sexually driven and want to exploit sexual dominance over women end up becoming misogynistic and sexist as a justification for the way they treat women. In the same way, people who want to enact violence against ethnic minorities end up becoming racist as a justification for the fact that they want to harm other people and or take what doesn't belong to them in an unearned in an unearned propensity. So it's coming from the same place. You've got something that I want, and rather than give you the appropriate currency for the thing that you have, I would rather be able to take it from you and then use some kind of a science to justify my taking that from you. In the case of, being someone who's racist, it could be, I want your culture, I want your belongings, I don't want to have to compete with you. Therefore, I'm going to lean on racist stereotypes and tropes to justify the fact that I'm going to mistreat an entire cast of people. And if it's the case of you're a sexual deviant like Andrew Tate, and you want, you know, what belongs to women, which is, their bodies, you want to be able to exploit that as and when it suits you. You basically demonize and dehumanize women. Women become objects. Um, women become deceptive. Women become the other that you can then talk about as though they're not, equal human beings to you, as though you don't have a mother and a sister. So I despise him as an individual. This is not new. I'm not jumping on a bandwagon. Go through my videos. I've always despised him. I enjoyed immensely when he got his face punched in. Was that late last year? Later last year, by Chase Dimore. And I'm enjoying even more the fact that this man's going to spend an extremely long time in prison because he is undoubtedly a predator, and that's going to come out in this video. So anyway, let's get into this. The Tate brothers have been arrested, and for those of you who need a bit of a background, I've found this BBC article, so we can go through this together, and then we'll jump on to the next one afterwards. In fact, I'm going to just minimize this video a little bit because when it's too big, it attracts the the attention of of the copyright claimants.
Why does the UK want the Tate brothers in court here now? Andrew and Tristan Tate, who are dual British.
Can you guys just do me a favor? I haven't got anything in the chat at the moment, but if you're in the chat, can you just let me know by pressing 1 that the audio of the video is actually playing at the moment, because I'm not entirely sure. So if you're in the chat, there's about 16 of you here at the moment. Let me know if the audio is playing. Okay, thank you very much.
US citizens already face some charges in the UK. But you might remember this from earlier this month. They were arrested in the US after British authorities charged them with a combined 38 new counts.
The charges
Thanks,
relate to
guys.
7
Appreciate the feedback.
victims spanning a period from 2010 to 2017. I can now confirm that officers from the United States have arrested both Andrew and Tristan Tate in relation to this matter overnight, and they have been detained pending ongoing legal proceedings.
The new charges against Andrew Tate include rape and crimes relating to sex trafficking and indecent images of a child.
Now, when you hear that kind of like, thank you very much, by the way, for the feedback on the volume. Someone said it's too low. That's interesting. Let me see if I can get that up. No, it's at the max. Let me quickly check here. It's all at max, so I'm not sure why it's too low. Maybe my mic is really loud, which would actually be a benefit because I've had a history of my mic being way too low. So sorry if there's a little bit of an imbalance between the volume of the article and the volume of my voice. But what I was going to say is, when you hear that list of charges, it almost sounds like these have to be trumped up. No one's that scummy. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the Epstein list kind of like accusations. And you think, no, that can't be true. But the thing is, if you know about the Tate brothers and you've followed the accusations, people of the UK have been trying to get them into court for years now. And in addition to that, if you follow all of the self-snitching that they've been doing over the years, they are a vile and reprehensible pair of individuals. And the problem with them is they've got really big mouths. They love the sound of their own voice. So everything they've done, they've snitched on themselves along the way. They are the two of the biggest self-snitchers. And I think this is a case of when people have got a lot of money and a lot of influence, they start behaving like the predator class. Because I'm not going to act like they're unique. They're not unique. They act like the predator class, like the Epstein class, like a whole bunch of UK MPs, all do exactly the same thing. The difference is the predator class and the MPs don't self-snitch. They keep their disgusting habits and disgusting behaviors to themselves. And the second thing is, these guys are not of the manner born. Okay, these guys, you aren't old money. You're not a part of that club. You're not Skull and Bones. Okay, you are two mixed race individuals who have amassed your own fortune by being incredibly illicit individuals, by the way. So you haven't done it in a good way where it's admirable, but you have amassed quite a good fortune for yourself by exploiting the dissatisfaction of an entire generation of young men and pretending that you're the answer. And you thought you could start acting like all of these old money, individuals who do behave exactly like you do. And you can't. You're not a part of that club. And as a result, they will be going to prison, and they will be doing a very long bird in prison. And it's all entirely deserved. So sorry if you're an Andrew Tate fan, but there's nothing here that won't stand up in court. I almost guarantee you that.
Now faces a total of 42 charges in the UK. Tristan Tate faces 17, with the new charges against him also including rape and counts to do with trafficking for sexual exploitation. The brothers have previously denied doing anything wrong, and after their latest arrest...
When you drag somebody's name through the media, when you slander them, when you defame them, when you accuse them of heinous and terrible allegations, the process becomes the punishment until you can clear your name. They've been clearing their names domestically and abroad for years. This is just the next logical conclusion in that situation.
What's going on?
So this is the defense that you'll hear from the Tate brothers. Oh, it's an attack from the Matrix. What's happening is the Matrix is attacking me because I speak too much truth. I'm Andrew Tate. If you follow Andrew Tate and you have got your head screwed on correctly, you're not a lobotomized or impressionable young man, you'll note that he doesn't say anything that's remotely in any way, shape, or form threatening to the powers that be. No one, none of them listen to Andrew Tate and go, "We need to shut him up. He's going to ruin everything. The country's going to come crashing to a hold if these Tate brothers continue to." No, no one's doing that, because all he does is promote capitalism, promote misogyny, and promote the establishment whilst saying he's anti-establishment and he's anti-capitalism. So he literally promotes the exact opposite. He amasses great wealth for himself. He tries to help his followers to amass wealth, although none of them ever do. All they do is enrich him and then act like he's the answer, to this corrupt world where that is run essentially by technocrats and people who are inexorbitantly rich like himself. It's the old double speak, but he's kind of like, he's just talks too much. He could have done all of these wicked and heinous things and just enjoyed his wealth if he learned to keep it stum, but he can't. His whole thing is self-snitching. So it's quite satisfying, seeing him in this predicament.
On now is a series of court hearings in America to determine whether they can be brought to the UK. Extradition is the official legal process, which can take a long time, where one country sends someone to the place where they are accused of a crime. The UK wants the US to do that. But why hasn't this happened before, when the Tate brothers first faced charges here? Let's look back, because it has tried. In 2024, Bedfordshire police got European arrest warrants for the pair to have them returned from Romania, where they are also under criminal investigation. At the time, a Romanian court ruled that separate case had to conclude before they could be sent to the UK.
And so, even for the Tate brothers to make this accusation of, "Oh, it's a matrix attack, they're trying to get my Bugattis," the reality is, Romania had its own charges, and the Romanian charges are also legitimate because he has been seeking, trafficking, grooming, and raping young teenage Romanian girls who were not of the age of consent. Okay. And even the ones who were of the age of consent, the trafficking charge, which is going to be explained a little bit later, is due to the fact, and he's admitted this, that he uses several coercive tactics and manipulation in order to essentially entrap people in a situation, entrap women in a situation that they don't feel that they can escape from. That's trafficking. You don't have to physically bind someone in chains and put them in a private jet and fly them to an island to traffic people. You can traffic people right where they are. It all depends on the entrapment and how free that person feels that they are to leave. And he's admitted he uses multiple coercive techniques in order to build his webcam business. So there's, once again, there's nothing controversial about the charges against the Tate brothers. They snitched on themselves throughout.
In 2025, travel restrictions against them in Romania were lifted, and they've been able to go to the US. Meanwhile, police in the UK have kept working on their case, looking into a number of offences in what they have called a complex investigation. That led to the new charges, the brothers' arrest in the US, and the request for them to be brought to the UK. So the obvious key difference now compared to 2024 is that they're in the US, not Romania. And that's something I've been trying to read a little bit more about, because the UK and the US do have an agreement that allows people to be sent to either country from the other in relation to many alleged offences. Professor Gemma Davies is a Durham Law School associate and said it was relatively rare for an extradition request between the two countries to be refused. She said it's fairly common to extradite between the two, which means...
And to be clear, so at the moment, they still haven't quite got to the point where they've extradited them yet. But for there to be an intervention, it's going to take a lot, and people are saying, well, it's impossible. Trump's not going to risk his reputation. But I'm kind of like, if there's any president who would risk their reputation, it would be Donald J. Trump. I mean, he doesn't give a crap here. He doesn't have a reputation to protect. So really, he's got the highest probability in terms of the current presidency of America of not being extradited. And that's literally his only hope. His literal only hope is that he's not extradited. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's committed similar crimes in the US at some point. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's committed similar crimes in the US at some point, and if the US doesn't at some point find its own list of charges against the Tate brothers, because they can't help themselves. This is how they conduct themselves. Misogyny gone wild expresses itself. They talk, they talk quite excessively about their desire to take the virginity of teenagers, of getting the youngest possible girls in terms of age of consent in any nation. When you're like that, you're always going to cross over onto the wrong side of that. So I'm not going to be surprised at all if they've got a list of 16 and 17-year-old girls in the States who they've groomed in a similar manner. So it's only a matter of time. Even if they're not extradited, it's going to it's going to come to a head. You know, I've got someone in the chat right now saying, you know, they're innocent, broski. It's like, they're not. They I'll show you that they literally talk about these things. So there's not like there's even controversy. If you want them to be innocent, that's one thing or another. Andrew Tate says on multiple occasions he loves effing 15-year-old girls. I will show you the footage. That's illegal in any country. Any country. And he says that out loud. So I don't know where you're getting this kind of like, oh, it's a matrix attack. It is not a matrix attack. People who are not, you know, bandwagon jumpers have been saying this about the Tate brothers for years. I don't care what he says in his, I'm going to play what he says in his podcast, because I think it's important for everybody to hear the kinds of defenses that these guys come up with, manipulating their very impressionable audience to, you know, to take their side in this, which is hilarious. It's kind of like, well, I'm just going to listen rather than take your side. Let me just listen to what you've said and see if you condemn yourself, because that's what we do. You know, we look for evidence, and if there's more evidence supporting the fact that you're innocent, I'll say no, they're innocent. But if there's evidence of them on multiple occasions, you know, if they were up for murder and then, you know, they were on multiple videos talking about, oh yeah, I like to shove the knife in and then pull it up like that, and they're saying that in every other video, then I'm going to say, oh yeah, no, these guys are definitely guilty. You know, there's no debate here, guys. You know, if you want him to be innocent, that's another thing, but they snitched on themselves. Okay, no one's condemning them based on third-party conjecture, and we'll get to that anyway. Let's finish off this video.
Means it's well traversed from a legal perspective. And we are two countries that have fairly similar legal systems in terms of criminal justice. But if we're asking what's different now, well, actually, there is one thing still the same. The case still going on in Romania. And Bill Bowring, who's a law professor in London, told us that's still a major complication. Now, the BBC has asked the Crown Prosecution Service what its stance is on that. The CPS brings forward criminal cases in England and Wales. There have been ongoing calls from lawyers of alleged victims in the UK for the brothers to face the justice system here.
And by the way, to be clear, I'm no fan of the CPS, okay? I'm no fan of the UK judicial system. So there's no way that I'm jumping on a bandwagon here of kind of like, yeah, justice. Like, a lot of time you don't get justice through the courts, particularly when you're of a certain caste. If you're of an ethnic minority, sometimes if you're Muslim, almost all the time if you're black, you're going to find it very hard to get justice through the justice systems in Western criminal courts. And, you know, so I'm not some naive person, but once again, taking the law for what the law is and then taking people at their word, these people have done everything that they profess. I just want to answer this question as well, Bartholomew. I don't want to disappoint anyone. It says, does this channel support the LGBTQ community, please? I don't want to disappoint anyone, but my answer is no, okay? I don't support and I don't fight against, okay? That's plain, I just don't, you know, I don't mention because it's outside of the realm. Okay. I am someone who is concerned with the progression of Black people globally, primarily. That's my primary instinct, my primary, you know, Africanity and global Blackness. People who don't even maybe classify themselves. And that's because as a group, we have faced a similar degree of persecution. And that's normally my focus point, making sure that we have the education, we have the knowledge, and we have the institutions to be able to build ourselves for our future. I don't concern myself with movements that sit outside of that. Okay. So in as much as you can hear from what I'm saying, you could say I support feminist movements because I just believe that men and women are equal. That's all there is to it. In a situation where men and women aren't being treated equal, I'm going to speak up, but I'm not a feminist. I'm not going to concern myself with the feminist movement. I'm not going to start taking up feminist kind of like talking points, but I will say that I believe that men and women are equal. I think that's just an easy, that's just an easy thing to support for me. So if I see anybody who's kind of like supporting inequality or inequity between males and females, misogyny, I'm going to be on the side of, you know, fighting against that, because I think that I have daughters, I have sisters, I have a mother, and I don't look down on them. So why would I look down on half of the world's population because they just happen to be born female? So that's what I am. Okay. I'm not a feminist, and I'm definitely not an LGBTQ kind of like banner supporter. Those things are much further down the line of my kind of like of what's important to me and what's at my core. So I hope that answers your question. Let's carry on.
It appears that's something police have been looking into for the past few years, with the CPS saying that the latest arrest is the result of what it called a further file of evidence. Well, it will be hoping Andrew and Tristan Tate are in a UK court soon. There are now a total of 59 charges facing them, which they have denied. Whether they will is up to the US. It'll go through the courts there, and then the final decision rests with the US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio.
These cases have a process that they go through in the courts. My understanding is that they're involved in that judicial process. And so that'll play itself out at this point. And there's no role for us to play at this moment, or maybe ever, in that regard. But I'm not going to opine on something that's still working through a legal process.
So I'm going to be clear. I'm not 100% confident at this stage that America is going to extradite the Tate brothers. I'm not, by no means confident of that, but let's see how it goes. Anyway, let's look at the next video, because I did want to give the Tate brothers an opportunity to talk for themselves and to express the Matrix attack that's come against them. Yeah, because this is what it is. Okay, and they predicted this. Yeah, they predicted this, not because they did any crimes, by the way. They predicted this because they're such outspoken and liberating. There's such a liberation force for the young male community who are fighting against anti-establishment Matrix by buying his course online. Let's see what they have to say.
They're going to try to kill me. And if they are successful, if they do kill me, all I hope is that this video is watched by as many people as possible. Coincidence, by providence, I do like to believe that perhaps I live in the Truman Show.
What's up with dude? What the hell's going on? Sorry. What's up with dude? All right, sorry, let's carry on.
Coincidence, by providence, I do like to believe that perhaps I live in the Truman Show. First, they try and shut you up. Second, they try and put you in jail. Third, they try and kill you. They only have option 3 left. And that's why we're making this video.
No, I think option 2 is still incredibly viable in your case, Andrew. But anyway, let's carry on.
Because I have a terrible suspicion that I won't make it to trial. So the UK tries to extradite me. They need to get me off the internet.
So he has been tweeting recently that they won't give him clean water, and he's been pooping himself in prison. I'd like to say that I'm not for kind of like, you know, I'm for the taking people through the judicial process. You know, I would find it unfortunate if that was the case. I don't have the same level of dislike for the Tate brothers that I do for, say, like an you know, an Amru Fuddle or Charlie Kirk. My dislike for them is less than that. But that being said, you know, some of their crimes against women are pretty disgusting. So, you know, anyway.
Stop the emergency meeting podcasts, and they need to stop the school. Everyone's making money. I'm the most popular man on the planet. Everyone loves me. I'm top G. I'm famous. I've got hundreds of millions of dollars. I got this big house in Dubai. I got beautiful women. I got kids, everything. I'm like, have I won? Hopefully that'll be televised because it's coming shortly. Unless they fucking kill me first, which is why I'm getting the messages I'm getting now, which is why we're doing this video.
Now, this all sounds very convincing if you hear it. You're like, he's making, like he said, he's making a lot of money. There's no two ways about that. You can calculate in terms of how many people are subscribed to his school and how much his monthly subscriptions are. You know, even now he's making in the millions on a month-by-month basis. So all of the ingredients are there to say, hey, you know, the powers that be aren't going to let someone who's independent make that kind of money and amass that kind of influence and, you know, exist really. You know, it's too dangerous. They like to control everything. I agree with that. Okay, no two ways about it. I absolutely agree with that. The problem is the videos of Andrew Tate talking about how he exploits women, talking about how he's trafficked women, talking about how he likes to grape underage girls are there, and they're not AI. He hasn't turned around and said, oh, that video is fake. I didn't say that. He said it all. So it's kind of like two things can be true. Yes, you're a very powerful person that they probably would like to be in control of, but yes, they don't have to do that much because you did commit these crimes. And my theory is with the Tate brothers that they didn't realize, I think it didn't really dawn on them that what they were doing was criminal activity. Because a lot of people do this kind of activity, don't record it, and don't do it at scale like they do, and they get away with it. Okay, you'll get the odd 30-year-old who's, you know, clap cheeks with a 16-year-old where maybe the jurisdiction's 18. Okay, that will happen. You do get that. It does happen. Okay, but it happens on a kind of one-off, you know, maybe they've gone on a lad's holiday or something like that. No one ever speaks about it again. Yeah. What you don't do is systematize that, do it at scale, and then boast about it on video. Because that's what it's like, dude, you're going to prison. Yeah. It's not legal to do this. Yeah. And that's where the Tate brothers are. I think they just got lost in their own source. Like, you're going to do a long bird. You might do life because you've been doing this at scale for a long time. So I'm sorry, Andrew Tate fans. This isn't a Matrix attack. And you're going to hear me repeat that phrase over and over again today.
A new domain name, relaunched the whole fucking school. I just got out of jail. I got PTSD. I'm still fucking laying in bed looking for cockroaches all the fucking time. They fucking ruined my life. I can't sleep. It was fine. There's 3 foot in the videos of all the tweets I was making. I had fucking nightmares. I couldn't lay in a bed without looking for fucking cockroaches. I couldn't have a blanket on me.
Well, guys, it looks like that there's just never a boring or slow day in the alpha male.
So I wanted to give you that opportunity to hear what he has to say in his own defense. Okay, we've got a few videos to get through today, so I think we'll call it a day for that particular video. Let's now actually look at the crimes themselves. Okay, because it's one thing me sitting here and lyricking on and waxing lyrical about what a scumbag he is, and I'm not giving you any evidence. It just sounds like all opinionated dross. But I'm now going to give you an opportunity to hear Andrew Tate speaking for himself. And the video that I'm going to show you is a video that was posted onto YouTube 3 years ago. So it wasn't a response to recent controversy. And actually it was posted before his first arrest. So this video was even posted before his first arrest. And I will say, on top of the fact that this video was posted before his first arrest, that you're going to listen to all the things that he says. Okay, so for those of you saying, oh, Andrew Tate is innocent, this guy covers Andrew Tate quite extensively. He's a criminal lawyer in America. Okay, and let's have a listen to Mr. Andrew. Is this the one I want? Let me make sure I got the right one here. Yeah. Let's listen to Mr. Andrew Tate self-snitching. Okay.
He's charged with sex trafficking, and I would venture to bet that maybe even some tax stuff might come down the pike. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Sex trafficking, there's unless you're dealing with underage, when we don't have any evidence that anybody's underage, but we have 3 things: force, fraud or coercion. Force, obviously, that's like being in chains and, you know, not being allowed to leave. Fraud, being kept there under false pretenses. If there's an element of fraud in the way that you are enticing somebody or keeping somebody in a particular position to work for you, and if it's in the sex business, that's sex trafficking. Or coercion, threat of harm or some other way to limit your movement. And so let's kind of look at one of his very first videos that he did. These are his words, not my words. And I'm going to play it, and I'm not going to take it out of context. We'll play this. Let's just make sure I'm not taking things out of context.
When you say webcam company, people assume, oh, it's just a sex fest. But in reality, it's a shitload of people management. The HR category of the webcam business is the largest and most important thing. You're effectively taking girls, teaching them how to make unlimited money from home, and then making sure they give it all to you.
So you're making sure that you're teaching girls how to make it.
Okay, so you heard that, okay? And it gets worse, by the way. Already that falls under, you know, the fraud element of coercion. But anyway, let's carry on.
A shit ton of money and give it all to you. Now, this is one of his first instructional videos. A lot of guys, you know, he's got a lot of fans. And a lot of guys think, oh, in order to have some wealth, you have to have a Bugatti, you have to do this, you have to do that. In order to have wealth, you have to have self-pride. You have to know who you are as a person. And where do you get that from? You get that from building.
I'm just skipping his talking.
He tells you that his main goal is to have them work for him and him get all the money.
Webcam studios everywhere. There's one webcam studio down the road called Studio 20 with 100 rooms. 100 rooms, 8-hour shifts, 3 girls a day. That's 300 girls a day working, and they all work on LiveGasm. So if you're going to go on LiveGasm, you're going to be competing with big-time guys. And what you want to be competing with is people at home in their bedrooms. You're going to be competing with serious businessmen, because I know for a fact, Studio 20, the owner of Studio 20 and the owner of the website itself, LiveGasm, are friends, and they've got some kind of backhander agreement. So all the Studio 20 girls appear high on the webpage. They appear at the top of the page.
So just to be clear, guys, yeah, those of you who defended Andrew Tate, this is your king, yeah, who made his wealth from essentially the corn industry, okay? He made his wealth essentially from the corn, exploiting women, okay? Putting them on cameras, yeah? Taking all of their money, which he's admitted to, putting them in coercive positions, taking all of their money, yeah? And that's how he's amassed his first set of wealth. And that's your matrix. He's got to break the matrix. Yeah, he's got to liberate people from oppression.
Obviously, if you're going to go on there, you don't want to scroll down 10 pages to find a girl. You're going to go to the girls in the first row. All his girls appear high up because he's given the guy a backhand. It's all this shady business. It's a huge competition market.
So you can see his main thrust is just making money. And he doesn't give a shit how he does it, really. He's going to tell you in a second here the origin of the story. And he's repeated these same concepts through multiple interviews, right? And so when you say I'm taking things out of context, we've sourced this and sourced this and sourced this, and he's repeated it multiple times. It is something when you hear who he wants to compete. He doesn't want to compete with the main factories. He wants to compete with the girls that are at home. So it that gives you an indication that he's going, you know, it's like in nature, I suppose. It's you go after the weakest.
Now, I've told very shortly my story, how I kind of started my whole webcam business. I'll tell it again in detail here. I was fighting. I had some money. I had 70,000 pounds in a safe in my...
One of our
It's a real rags to riches story. Yeah, I was fighting. I had barely any money. And then I had a smart idea that I was going to start a webcam business. I saw a girl naked and I thought, oh, other men would like to see girls naked too. So I started grabbing 15-year-old girls off the street and saying, you're going to be naked for me. Is this your king? Really? Like, I don't understand why this guy has an army of people. Like, I say I don't understand, but I also do understand why this nation and the US and the West as a whole, it's in the morally decrepit position it is in terms of its male youth. Because this man has inspired so many people to hate women. He's inspired so many people to believe that their the lack of fulfillment of their sexual desire is abuse. Do you know there's a bunch of men out there who believe women are abusing them by not giving them sex? Do you know that? They believe they're abused. Oh, well, she's not sleeping with me, so she's better off dead. that's from him. Yeah, that's how much they dehumanize. And you know, being someone who is black, I can empathize with this because that's how they feel when it comes to racism. It's the same kind of energy. It's kind of like he's different. I want what he's got. I can't have it, so he's better off dead. You know, I feel abused by the fact that there's a black person on the television screen. It's the same mindset. Okay. I always say white supremacy, male supremacy, they exist in the same sphere. So if you're a black male supremacist, yeah, you've got some moral issues that you need to work through. Yeah. I'm going to keep pressing that.
Viewers, it indicated that he's gotten most of his money from fighting. He had 70 grand, 70,000 euros or pounds or whatever he had. And that was it.
Bedroom in my house. I wanted to buy property in Thailand and move to Thailand. I needed 80,000. I was 10 grand short. And I thought I'd go to the casino and make the 10.
That's also telling. I'm going to go to the casino.
Let me just quickly, I want to get to the good bits. I mean, I could listen to this guy's analysis, but I just want to give you guys a nice, clear picture of this dude and his webcam business.
And those are assets. Things that you own are assets.
Times I didn't pay any tax to anyone. I didn't want to pay taxes, so I didn't buy a house to confirm me. So I was like, what?
Keep in mind, keep that tax theme in the back of your head.
What assets do I have? Like I have a car, I have this, I have that. And then I realized I had about 5 girlfriends, all smoking hot. And females are an asset. Attractive females are absolutely an asset. And if you disagree with me, walk in the club with 10 blondes and you'll see who the most important guy in the club is. Fuck the champagne shows.
Who the fuck cares who the most?
And you can hear that's very telling. Once again, it's this constant dehumanizing of females. And some of you are hearing this and you're okay with it. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't hear a level of psychopathy in the way that he communicates about women in general, you've probably got some issues you need to work through. And I wouldn't dissuade you seeing a therapist, because it means you've been affected by this rhetoric. And I'm saying that honestly, it's not healthy. This isn't healthy rhetoric. This isn't a healthy way to perceive women. It's not, okay?
Respect not because you're walking in there with 12 blondes.
I've walked into a club with 10 girls and there's guys next to me doing champagne shows. Is anyone looking at their table or my table? No one gives a fuck about their table. Pussy is the most important driving force of this planet. Pussy is the only reason that empires were started and wars were waged. It's the only reason all you guys are out there are even interested in having money. If there was no pussy about, you wouldn't care about having money. You say, oh, I'll have a little bit of money and I'll just play chess all day. I don't care. I'll play video games. The only reason we want cars and clothes and 6-packs and houses and shit is for girls.
That's so simplistic.
Girls are the driving force. So when I realized I had all these assets, I had to find a way to monetize the assets.
Now remember, the assets, are something you own. He's got 5 women that he believes are his assets.
He's talking about monetizing them. So once again, these are people that are, this sounds okay to you guys, but let's flip the script. Let's say he wasn't talking about women there. Let's say he said, and I walked into the club and I was with 5 6'5" black guys. Yeah. These are my best mates. Yeah. And I realized, hey, these black guys are assets. How do I monetize these assets? Now, a whole bunch of white supremacists wouldn't have a problem with that. Yeah. But I would have an issue with what he's saying there. I'd be like, no, what do you mean they're assets and how do you monetize them? Would you want to start a plantation? Okay. They're not yours to monetize. Okay. If you want to talk about going into a business partnership, that's one thing. But speaking about them like they're not autonomous beings who make their own decisions is saying something very critical about the way your mind works. You are a bit of a psychopath. Do you understand that?
Now he's going to make money off it.
I knew some street pimps. I've known them for a long time. Straight street pimping is a completely In fact, no, it's not a completely different game. The psychological aspect is the same.
So he just admitted to the fact that the psychological aspect of pimping is exactly the same as what he did. I'm just skipping over some of this guy's analysis. I want to get to Andrew Tate's words. They're the important part.
Street pimping, and that is control.
Of what we're going to do. The skill I'm going to teach you is exactly the same. I could easily translate mine to a street business, and you could easily street pimp with the things I'm going to teach you. But I didn't want no one else fucking my girl. That's the truth. My girls. I want to fuck my girls. I want some other guy fucking my girls. What the fuck's the point in that? So, long story short, blah, 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 blah. Discovered webcam and went from there. Flew all 5 girls in at once. Sat them all down. So I've been going out with all of you. Here's the truth. Starting a business, you'll make money or not. 2 decided to stay. 3 started crying, got back on the plane because they're all different places in the world. I had them from when I was fighting. So I went and fought in Slovakia. I've got a girlfriend. Went and fought in France. Got a girlfriend. Went and fought. So I had all the girls around the world. So I told them all to fly in, sat them all down together. Like, who the fuck are all these other girls? I was like, okay, truth time. Bang.
All these other girls probably think they're exclusive before they come to him, right? And now all of a sudden he lays the truth down on him. What is that's deception from the very beginning. His words, not mine.
I'm a G.
And just to be clear, it's interesting hearing a lawyer's perspective because sometimes things are crimes. And like I said, you don't know they're crimes. And so a lot of people get away with doing crimes. Okay. And that's because it's not a habit. It's not done at scale. Once again, they're not doing it repetitively. And obviously ignorance is never a defense in court. Okay. If you get accused of a crime, your defense can never be, I didn't know it was a crime. Okay. That doesn't work in court. But irrespective of that, a lot of people, like I said, get away with crime. So the lawyers just said, hey, look, that's deception. You could be, you could be taken to court over the way, literally, he's just treated these girls. Now, most people wouldn't be taken to court. It wouldn't go any further if you did something like that. But then he's taken that, he's putting it on webcam, he's packaging it, and he's selling it as a flipping course. Do you understand? There's plenty wrong with this. Now, I could go on and show you this, but I want to show you some more, okay? Because this is just, I just wanted to give you an insight into his character. And so even people who are like, oh, the web, like someone said in the chat, oh, he stopped the webcam business a long time ago, which actually is debatable. We'll see that. But even if he did, so what? It doesn't mean that when he did it, it wasn't a crime. I'm not saying he's still running a webcam business. I'm saying that he committed lots of crimes. And I'm saying that he continued, I'd say even till recently, to be a predator, because that's a separate crime. His predation of underage girls is a separate crime to the webcam business. And once again, all of this is self-snitching. Okay, it's always self-snitching. So let's continue. Okay, let's so he was arrested recently. We're not going to show that footage, but I wanted to skip ahead to him self-snitching, because this is the funny part.
You just can't make it up. Okay, now let's okay.
So this video is more recent. This is very recent, but you've got to hear some more self-snitching that he's done.
One of the things that Andrew Tate loves, aside from his penis, is the sound of his own voice. Okay. And so somebody put together a compilation of lies. So let's take a look at this.
True that you and your brother made money from video chat studios?
No, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. I first became a
Okay, he said he did make money from chat studios, right?
multi-millionaire by running a webcam studio.
How long ago was
What?
So he said, once again, so 2021, he says he became a multi-millionaire running a webcam studio, but then the earlier footage, he said, I never made any money from that. And this is what you're seeing. This is a repeated trait. He lies and lies and lies and lies.
Wait a second. You said you didn't? Now you did. Okay, well, that probably was then. This is now, correct?
What was your webcam business?
Yeah, so I stopped having any involvement with it. I think 8 to 9 years ago, I stopped.
That's in 2023.
When Corona came, I scaled it back up, right? So I got a bunch.
What? Wait a second. 8 or 9 years ago, that would have been 2015, 2014. But now in 2021, you said when Corona hit, oh, what the heck?
I got 20 more girls online. We scaled that back up to $300,000 or $400,000 a month. So I got back into the game hard. But now we're coming towards.
You got it. I thought you were soft.
So you just heard that there, okay? One interview in 2023 saying, "Oh no, I haven't done the webcam." And that's what a lot of his Tate followers will say, like one in the chat. "Oh, he hasn't done it for ages." "Oh yeah, I stopped that business 8 or 9 years ago," he said in 2023, which would bring him to like 2015, 2014, 2015. Yeah, he ended the business, but then 2021, he's saying it was still scaling during Corona. So that's 2020, okay? And he's saying this in 2021. So it's likely that that business went on until 2021. Yeah. It's very likely that that business went on until 2021. So that's quite recent. Okay, that's not too far from when the charges came. So people acting like this is like some Bill Cosby event where 40 years later they're bringing up charges and stuff. And so why didn't they say it then? It's kind of like, no, these charges were made fairly closely to the crimes being made. There wasn't some big gap between the two.
Towards the end of Corona, I'm going to keep like 5 or 6 of my main girls.
I mean, what did I do? I helped some people organize some accounts on an internet website. That's what I did.
I created a system that allowed me to convince girls to do this, allowed me to retain 100% control of their income. I know how to.
Scumbag. He is such a, I mean, can't you just feel the sleaze oozing off of him in every respect?
To make sure the girl can't run away.
I helped women with the tax side.
Tax is also another important element for controlling your woman. You're not going to pay anybody tax, but you need to tell your girl that you're paying the tax.
That's what I was telling you about. We reacted to all.
So in that other video, which I could bring back, he talks about the fact that he doesn't give the girls any money. He talks about the fact that he doesn't pay any tax. He talks about the fact that he manipulates them in these situations. Okay. In fact, I kind of want to go back and just let you see some of this because it's important to hear the man in his own words. Okay. Let me bring you here. Okay. Let me bring you here so you can really hear what this guy's about.
But you have to keep her convinced that she does need you. That's how you control. That's the control part. And it is a fallacy. And what is fallacy? Fraud.
She can't do this without you to ensure that she doesn't do it without you. So this is what screen share is all about. Effectively, this is the way the business works. The girl sits on the camera. Now, when the girl is on camera, and you would have seen from my promotional video, that was at the height of my webcam empire. The blonde in that video I'm still with now. You'll see from there how we explain that there's people typing or pretending to be the girl 24 hours a day. So it hasn't got to be 24.
That part, I suppose, is fine in terms of a business model, but it's fraud. I mean, he's the one typing, and so you think you're getting all excited by something she's saying, and here you're really communicating with Andrew Tate.
And think about this as well. This is the guy who is, his whole marketing spiel is that he's saving a generation of young men from a system, and yet he made his initial wealth from exploiting really vulnerable, sexually repressed young men. And this is the thing: when you're in business, one of the things they'll tell you is that it's much easier to build a business from your existing audience than to try and move to a different audience. That's what they're. So if you've managed to amass an audience using one method, what you'll then do is you'll create products for that same audience doing something else. That's how a lot of businesses work. They don't just venture into something that's completely different. Now, if you look at Andrew Tate, who is his audience? Repressed young men who can't get, essentially who are incels. Yeah. Who was he taking money from? Repressed young men who are incels. So all he did was create a new product for them. The first product was desperation product. It was OnlyFans, or it was webcam, and he's been essentially a pimp who's got all of these women, who are paying money, and then he thought, oh my gosh, I've got these like hundreds of thousands of millions of people, who I'm writing chat messages to, who are paying me. What else could I sell them? How about I sell them some hope? These repressed, depressed young men, who can't get any sex. How about I sell them some hope? Do you understand? And that's exactly what he's doing. He's selling them some hope now through his product.
But that method is very important for two reasons. First, let me explain how it works. Listen up, motherfuckers. So the girl's on the webcam. She's sitting here. When a girl is on camera, she has a public room, which people will visit, and they will spend money in and talk shit.
And when you think about it, the people that he's appealing to on these webcams are just a bunch of really lonely guys, and there's a ton of them out there.
It is your job to train the girl to talk to and interact with that public room as much as possible. So when people come in the room and say, oh, hey, how are you? She's like, they type. The men type, hey, how are you? It comes in the box. She goes, oh, hey, I'm fine. Thank you. You.
Okay. So I just want to also just show you one more part where he talks about, I think, making it so the girl can't escape, basically. And it's important that you hear that part as well. So, you know, this isn't just, you know, even if this was his business models, okay, so he's gone from being a webcam operator to being someone who sells a course online. If he was doing that and essentially he was committing no crime, because there are webcam businesses out there that are legitimate, and there are, obviously monthly subscription hustlers universities are out there. I'm not saying any of that is a crime. I'm not hating him because he was making money. I'm looking specifically about the coercion techniques that he talks about that he uses to entrap these women. And I'm looking specifically at the fact that he's a predator. Okay. The Hustlers University, if he's got these depressed young men who he's selling this $50 a month course to, that's cool. That's their choice to spend that money with him. Is it exploitative of him? Yes. Is it a crime? No, it's not. Okay. No one's saying that that's a crime, but let's now just have a look at the kind of things that were criminal that he did.
At the beginning, she can, but there'll become a point she can't. But you being here, it synergizes this teamwork energy. We're going to do this together. Yeah, you go on the camera. Don't worry. I'll talk to the guys. I'm going to talk to them. We're a team. Happy, positive teamwork. There's no negative energy in this business. You have to be positive. So by you typing for the girl, you maximize money, and also she believes she needs you, which is extremely important. Later on down the line, I got to the point where I'd hired typers. So I didn't have to type. So I'd hired girls to sit and type and pretend to be the girls. So I had girls online. I had an office full of girls pretending to type. So I had 4 typers, 20 girls online, for example. Another reason we use Chatterbait is because they will pay you in Bitcoin.
This is another critical part of what he does, and that may impact a criminal prosecution of him later. And if you recall at the beginning of this video, he talked about not wanting to own property because he didn't want to pay taxes. And him not paying taxes is a recurring theme. And so if he's avoiding taxes, you can't avoid taxes. Let's continue.
They'll pay you in Bitcoin. Put in your Bitcoin address and they'll pay you in Bitcoin. And this is amazing because you've all seen the thought audit shit that's going on. You've all seen the fucking legalities of banking. Trying to get money out of these sites into your bank without paying a shitload of tax is actually very difficult.
See, it's that whole avoiding taxes. And it's not legal to do that. It's not legal to not pay your taxes.
And that was going to be about an hour segment of this fucking thing. But we don't need to do that anymore because in the last 6 months, Chatterbait have released a Bitcoin option. So they'll pay you in Bitcoin. So if your girl on there working, let's say you generate $3,000, $4,000, bang, you get Bitcoin into your wallet. Done. No fucking tax, no thought audit, none of that shit. And I had a separate phone with all my girls' guys in that phone, and I kept control of it. And I would speak to them, and before she went online, I would tell her like any basic information. You don't let your girl have this, because if your girl ever runs off and leaves you, which is going to happen to some of you at least, you don't want her to have an address book of all the guys she can get money from.
Another aspect of control. You don't want her to have your client list, because if she has your client list, she can leave you. So you've got to restrict her information. So it's systematic, and it's a systematic method of control to control these women. Now, these are not my words. These are his words and his words alone.
You want her to leave and go, well, I don't know the account. I don't have the password to the account. I've never set it up before. I don't know how the banking works. I don't have any of my guys' phone numbers. I have nothing. And that's why they don't want to leave. Because they're like, oh, well, he has everything. I need him. I have to stay with him. He has everything. It's important. I'm telling you, it's a very important element that control.
It's a very important element, that control.
So you heard that he's boasting about how much control he has over these individuals. Okay, that's not employment, guys. So for those of you like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that, like, no, there is. Okay, that's not gainful employment. Okay, that's manipulation. That's a woman who feels entrapped, a woman who feels like she can't leave. And without showing it, he goes on to talk about the fact that he regularly has sex with them and doesn't let anybody else sleep with them as well. And that's when you get into a really dark area. You know, I hope you guys can see the pathology of that. The fact that they rely on this person for income. That is essentially, that person is a prisoner and they don't know it. Okay, that's a fact. Okay, someone has said, you know, that it's that slavery, and that is exactly that. So just because they're operating in the West and there's no chains on these women, it doesn't mean that they don't feel fully exploited. And the worst thing is that he's selling this as a course. So he's packaging this so that people can rinse and repeat this methodology. There's something very, very sick about that. Now, if you're not sickened enough, okay, guys, if you're not sickened enough, we're now going to go on to some of the more shocking, some of the more shocking things that Andrew Tate has done. Okay, and one of the few of the things that convinced me that.
So here, let's watch it
now. I could have shown you this video individually, but I also want to show you it in the context of, this is a YouTube channel called Jesse on Fire. He's kind of like an MMA guy, but he's also one of these, probably, I say, MAGA people, copers for Andrew Tate, and he tries to cope for him. So I want to hear you. I want to let you hear a bit of the cope, and then I'm going to let you listen to and see the footage, and then you draw your own conclusion about what is going on in this scene. So I'm going to go back a bit, and then we'll go from here.
Okay, so yeah, here's the deal. I am going to show this to you guys because this video was so obvious to me immediately that it was role play. And I was like, so here, let's watch it.
So he's coped for Andrew Tate already. Oh, this is definitely role play. Now I want you to watch this, listen to it, and then let you come to your conclusion about what you think is taking place here.
Let's watch it together real quick.
Don't say it. English, proper English, no Slovak bull. Say it to the camera. That's all I said. Say it. I said when I said tell the camera I beat you when you don't do as I say. I didn't say the word listen. Did I say the word listen? Did I say the word listen? Bitch. I didn't say the word listen.
So he just slapped her and then pulled her down by her hair. Okay, I'm gonna let carry on playing.
Did I say listen? Did I say listen? No. Look at the camera. Did I say listen? Did I say listen to you? Did I say it? No. Did I say it? Look at the camera. This is what happens, you don't listen. Look at the camera.
So she's crying and he's beating her with a belt and she's crying. Okay, everyone agrees that those are real tears.
Why are you getting hit? Why are you getting beaten? You don't listen. You do as I say.
Okay.
Okay, now I don't want to hear what this guy has to say anymore. The point being that people say, oh, it's role play, it's this, that, and the other. And I know people do weird stuff. You get like, you know, the whole BDSM crowd, this, that, and the other. Okay, I get all of that. But the bottom line is this, like, why would you need to put it on video and share it with the world? Even if it was, okay? Even if it was, why would you put it on video and share it with the world? Okay? I don't think it's role play. I think it might have started as role play, but I don't think people can kind of fake tears that easily. There's a point where you cross the line. Was it consensual to start with? And did it become non-consensual? I think we all saw that progression. He was aggressive and he was violent. And even if it was role play, why would you need to role play punching and hitting a woman with a belt? That means you are psychologically compromised. He's a psychologically compromised individual. Okay, that's it. That's not a healthy person. He's told on himself in multiple occasions. So that's a little bit of the violence of Andrew Tate. Now we're going to cross into the realm where I think both of these brothers are totally indefensible, and you're going to hear them speaking in their own words about their predation. Okay, you're going to hear that in their own words. So I'm not even going to need to interject here. I'm going to let you listen to these brothers self-snitching about their predatory nature. Okay.
So fuck off, mate. You don't pay the fucking petrol bill. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck would I read for you? If you've got a fit sister who's 16, maybe.
Muslims have the best framework.
He just said, if you got a fit sister who's 16, 16, let me not misquote him, maybe. So once again, that's right on the line, okay? Maybe not illegal, but that's like literally right on the line of legality. That's a grown man in his 20s saying, if you got a fit sister who's 16, maybe. Let's carry on.
On earth. I want this. Yeah. And this is my society, and they're coming along telling me they're going to blow this up and take this away from me. No, I want a virgin wife at 16 who's going to obey me. That's
I want a virgin wife at 16 who's going to obey me. I don't know his exact age here, but he looks like he's in his late 20s, perhaps 30. Why do you want a virgin wife who's 16?
I want.
I was working as an IT technician in my former high school, fixing laptops.
Okay.
Got fired from there for sleeping with the head girl. You know how it is. It's hard out here.
How old?
I was like 18.
Oh, shit.
And she was 16. So I was like, what's the problem?
That's the only one that he said that was probably less problematic. 18 and 16. That one, okay. It's legal and also it's relatively close in age. I wouldn't, condemn him for that. The fact that he's boasted about it, very weird. Once again, off the back of the other things that he's saying, because he doesn't seem to progress for the desire for these girls who are doing their GCSEs.
Problem. And they're like, oh yeah, but you're a member of staff. Da, da, da. Whatever. So
I was contacted by Andrew Tate, the older of the Tate brothers, 3 years ago when I was just 16.
So I messaged her. She's like, I'm only 16. I was like, give a fuck. Know about me. I'm 21. I don't care. Bro, I was banging her, like looking at her Facebook on the phone, like just staring at a different face. Because I had to bang her. So Vivian's been with me 6 years. 6 years. 6 years.
So he's been with Vivian for 6 years, right?
Because Vivian's younger. Melissa's like 28. Vivian's like 21.
Vivian's 21. And at this point, he's been a girlfriend for 6 years. It means that they met when she was 15 years old.
I'm fucking all these.
So you hear that? So he's talking about his girl, Vivian, yeah, who was 21 when he was recording that. And then later on in the interview, he said, oh, she's been with me for 6 years. He didn't obviously calculate the two things that he had said that he had just snitched. No, she's been with me for 6 years. So she's been with you since she was 15. And by the way, when that was recorded, he was a 30-year-old man talking about that. Yeah. So he'd, groomed this girl from the age of 15, possibly raped her multiple times, and she'd been with him for 6 years. So she hasn't even been able to progress through her childhood without this man, this grown-ass man in her life. And the interesting thing is that I haven't really touched on it in this video, is that him and this girlfriend of his, Vivian, seem to play a very similar role to like Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein, in that they get the women to do the coercing, to get the new talent in, so to speak, who are then trafficked into the business. The parallels are incredibly strong. And once again, this is all stuff that he said. I haven't sat here and played you a video of people critiquing Andrew Tate. I'm playing you a video of his own quotes. The man is a predator. If he comes to the UK, he will be going to prison for a long time, and he deserves it. Okay, those are the three base cases. He's a predator, he's going to prison, and he deserves to go to prison.
16-year-old women or 18-year-old women, whatever the law is in America.
Did he say 15-year-old women? You heard that? He said 15-year-old women. I don't think we call girls that are 15 years old women in any state or in any nation. But let's bring that back for those of you who missed that, because this wasn't a Freudian. This is,
She's been a girlfriend for 6 years. It means that they met when she was 15 years old.
I'm fucking all these 16-year-old women or 18-year-old women, whatever the law is in America. 18?
Why would you boast about having intercourse with school-age children? you know, 15, 16, legal age, whatever it is. Why is that a flex? You're a multimillionaire and your flex is that you're having intercourse with girls with school uniforms on. Girls who are just like strolling out of college, who don't know any better, who probably think a guy with a car is cool. And you're using your multi-billions of pounds to F all of these 16-year-old girls. This guy's revolting. Okay, I'm going to bring that back for those of you who missed it.
6 years. It means that they met when she was 15 years old.
I'm fucking all these 16-year-old women or 18-year-old women, whatever the law is in America. 18?
It's 18 usually. You
18.
get married at 16.
All right, in Romania, it's 16. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm fucking all these 18-year-old women, blah, blah, blah.
16.
All right, in Romania, it's 16. Sorry.
Okay, so that scene alone, yeah, the fact that the words "I'm effing all of these 15-year-old women," not girls, by the way, women in his view, "I'm effing all of these 15-year-old," even came out of his mouth. That's not legal in any nation. Okay, so even if he was getting the age, I'm sorry, the age mixed up, but what, between 16 and 18, but you started with 15, which means we all know that you've been having sex with 15-year-old girls. Yeah, we know that now. Yeah, you've said it. It doesn't just slip out. Yeah, he said it multiple times. He said it like twice before he corrected himself. Okay, so that's Andrew Tate, self-snitching predator. And finally, let's move on to Tristan, because he isn't just there because it's a Matrix attack and he's the brother of Tate. He has his own litany of cases that he's going to have to deal with. And listen to him snitching on himself.
Let me tell you something about this cigar. It's like taking the virginity of a really beautiful woman. I get to have this experience and no one else gets to have it again. It is a little bit better, but the real pleasure is in the fact that somebody...
Why is that stopped? Let's bring that back.
Let me tell you something about this cigar. It's like taking the virginity of...
Let me, my internet's stalling, so I'm just going to close some windows and hope for better performance. Okay. Okay, that's not going to work. I know when it starts doing stuff like that, it's not going to work. Let me open up a new browser.
A really beautiful woman. I get to have this experience and no one else gets to have it again.
I'm going to try a new browser. This is the last video anyway that we're going to watch on this subject.
Let me tell you something about this cigar. It's like taking the virginity of a really beautiful woman. I get to have this experience and no one else gets to have it again.
Why can't I see it on the... Oh, the window changed. I have to share a new window. Okay, let me see if I can get it working on the original one.
It is a little bit better, but the...
No, it won't work. I need to do a reshare. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 split second because I know I'm going to get problems with this. I'm just going to quickly remove and start again. Share screen. Window. And 1 second. There we go. Okay, and put the audio on. All right, we'll try again, guys. I think this should work now. Okay, let's do this again.
Let me tell you something about this cigar. It's like taking the virginity of a really beautiful woman. I get to have this experience and no one else gets to have it again. It is a little bit better, but the real pleasure is the fact that somebody else would love to have this, and I did. That's what.
Now, I just want to bear in mind that I think Tristan's in his mid-30s at this stage. Someone saying this in their late teens. Is that echo? I don't know why. I'll try and turn that a little bit. Someone saying this in their late teens, early 20s, mid-20s, late 20s, problematic enough. But someone at his age, it gets to the point, you know, what, you're going to be Hugh Hefner talking about taking girls? Like, it's already weird. Am I still echoing? Let me know if I'm still echoing. Someone said something about echo.
That makes sense. I'll give you that. I agree.
Andrew Tate obviously agrees with that. I agree with that. That's true. That makes sense. And once you do that, you can get them in a Bugatti.
So 3 months ago, I met this girl in Poland. And you know, the last picture I uploaded, and I didn't upload it yet. I uploaded it when you were watching.
Yeah.
I met her in Poland 4 or 5 times. I took her out. Virgin, 18 years old.
Yep.
Beautiful girl. Now you've seen the picture. You know what she looks like. What do you think? 8.5, 9?
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, smoking. So I took my time. Time and words had to be wasted. Did all the bullshit I usually do. There was no hard close on her. I left, gave her a big kiss, said, I'm going to miss you, etc., etc. Flew her to Romania. The first 2 days I spent with her in Romania, I purposefully, hear me out, John, chess, ready? I booked her here for 3 days to fly here, okay? For the first 2 nights, I booked a hotel for her. And my assistant drove her to her hotel every night. I kissed her on the couch. Tasha, she liked me. She was into it. Georgiana's here. She's taking you home. First 2 nights, took her home. Third night, her flight was at 7 a.m. Baby, you may as well stay with me. Chess, set up. This is what it takes to fuck 9 out of 10 virgins.
When you are in the true abundance mindset of
You see, the problem with these guys is like Tristan is an idiot and he only has an audience because Andrew Tate is a charismatic talker, even if he says idiotic things very, very regularly. And they just love talking. So even when they're saying something that is not profound, you know, chess, it's like, dude, that's not, there's nothing even remotely clever about what you did. You just created a situation where, like, is it that important to you? I don't know. Like, it's just weird. And once again, like I said, a lot of this comes down to the fact that they are constantly trying to sell this, you know, behavior as a product, package it and sell it as a product as though you've done something. There's nothing for people to aspire to here. Okay, as a young man, there's nothing that these guys are doing that you should be aspiring to. Okay,
you can have the pick of the crop. You can have the world's most attractive women. I mean, one of my main chicks has 200,000 Instagram followers, and I took her virginity when she was 17.
It's an abundance mindset. Yeah. I have so many girlfriends and so many wonderful girlfriends and so many virgins.
And this is an argument no one but me ever says. Every woman was.
The easy question is, guys, okay, and this is why this is going to lead to his conviction, because even though, unlike Andrew Tate, he hasn't admitted to sleeping with underage girls, yeah, 17 is legal in the UK. The age of consent is 16. So technically, if he's saying this from a UK and most European nations perspective, there's nothing criminalizing here. But what is criminalizing and what is exposing? What is criminalizing, what is exposing is that he keeps talking about the fact that he's got all these virgins around him. So obviously, the first question that everyone's going to be asking is, how do you have contact with so many virgins? Because if they're virgins, it means they're not sexually active. And if they're not sexually active, then you're probably not meeting them in places where you find sexually active women. So that means you're hunting for these girls. And that's where the obvious conclusion that you draw is that there's a grooming aspect to this. You're finding these girls, you're dipping into their DMs when they're underage. You're trying to get them from the age where they're untouched and they're innocent. You are exposing yourself. It's just vile. It's just entirely vile. And, you know, like I said before, people who think this is a Matrix attack, I don't know if this footage is new to some of you guys, but if after what we've watched today, you still feel like this is a Matrix attack and this is kind of like these are trumped up charges and they're not true, I do want to genuinely hear what your basis of support and defense for them is, because some of you have already taken to the live chat to attack me for showing you this footage. I'm sorry for telling you what the Tate brothers said about their own behavior. I'm really, really sorry about that. I apologize for exposing their own clips of them talking.
Was a virgin once. Everyone's like, oh, all the women in this place are bad, and all the women in that place are bad, and all the women in that bad. Listen, if you get her before she's fucking sucked everyone's dick. If you get a girl with a body count of 0, you could turn her into a good girl. This girl had a body count of 1. I had taken her virginity. 2 of the girls who were at that party, I had taken their virginities. So I took this girl's virginity. I mean, I know a virgin for webcams. Literally, I mean, she's not a virgin because I'm the only guy who's banged her. I'll say this in public. I only go down on women who are virgins. One of the girls I dated here, I famously said she was a 26-year-old virgin, and she was a 9. And people say, "Oh no, I don't believe it. There's no such thing as a 26-year-old virgin." I'm like, okay, you think I, Tristan Tate, don't know a virgin when he fucks one? Like, seriously, fucking give me a break. I fuck so many virgins in this country because virgins will take me 10 dates, 20 dates to fuck. People are like, how do you wait that long? I don't wait. Date, dinner, nice romantic time, go home, fuck one of my girls who I already have. Like, I'm not waiting at all. Yeah. I'm just putting the work in. I'm now uploading a picture right now in real time of last night's girl. She is.
I was just saying this, the self-snitching is crazy, you know. It's just crazy. They're literally unstoppable talkers. They are a prosecutor's dream. You know, I think the Tate brothers are second only to modern gangster rappers in terms of the amount of self-snitching they do. They're like a prosecutor's dream. There's like, this isn't going to be a long case, Your Honor. You can imagine the QC, the curly wig in the UK. Your Honor, this isn't going to be a long case. What we're going to do is just look at a compilation of videos from the Tate brothers, and at the end of it, you make your own decision, guilty or not guilty. The prosecution rests. You know, these guys are just consummate self-snitches. It's actually quite amusing.
She was a Polish virgin who I've been talking to for 3 months since Warsaw, and I only just fucked her recently. There's a new post up today. This was last night's girl. Polish virgin. So people say, oh, all the.
And by the way, you will notice there's also a trend for them going to economically deprived neighborhoods to find these girls as well. So there's that kind of like passport bros thing. It's like, you guys are multimillionaires and you go to the most deprived parts of Eastern Europe to find people who are going to worship you and to find these virgins. It's like, these guys are truly gross. They are truly gross.
Girls who fuck are hoes and this. I put the work in to fuck the good girls.
Yeah,
Nice,
she's
right?
awesome.
What do you think? 8.5, 9 to buy most.
Looks like a Polish Marilyn Monroe or some shit.
Yeah. 18 years old, man. 18 years old. Met her in Poland. Took on 5 dates and never fucked her until Romania last.
I think my record is seven dates.
Guys, I can't listen to these sad old men anymore. I think you get the point of what I'm saying here. And by the way, for those of you, once again, who think this is a reactionary video to their arrest, this video here is 2 years old as well. So there are many people who think that everyone's just reacting to the Tate brothers now because maybe they were blindsided and maybe they've had, 3 years worth of Hustlers University subscriptions that they feel regret about paying into, which I totally understand. You've made a bad investment and you want to justify it by wanting to believe that these guys are not the accusations that are being levied against them. They absolutely are the accusations that are being levied against them. Okay, and so you've seen the evidence for yourself. It's up to you if you want to continue to follow them. But like I said before, there's no matrix attack. There's no unjust. I haven't even showed you even 10% of the incriminating and defensible accusations that have been laid against the Tate brothers. I haven't even showed you 10%, but hopefully I've showed you enough to not feel the need to cape for these guys. There's no need for you to cape for them, and there's no need for you to cope for them. They are predators. They are going to face charges for their predatory nature, and the prison sentences that they serve will likely be a reflection of the crimes that they've committed. And that's really the end of it. So guys, anyway, that's it. I didn't want this to go well over an hour. It's gone on for an hour, 20 minutes, but I think it's been an hour, 20 minutes of relatively informative stuff if you weren't informed on the case. So there you go. That's my view on the Tate brothers. I've got really no more to say about this particular kind of like subject. I might cover some developments in the future, but I've got not that much interest. They're getting what they deserve. I'm not surprised by the charges that are being brought against them. I think the arrest is long overdue, and yeah, they'll see their day in court, and maybe then they can present some of these Matrix level defenses that they claim. On that note, I'm outie. Peace.